ESPN did release a list. I saw you comment on it, and I have to bring it up. KD was on that list. And I remember at the time you released a tweet at the time, and a lot of people, Mark, they missed the first half of it, like they always do. They look at the thing that always elicits the most clicks, and they forget to look at the part that creates that, right? So you started off the tweet by saying, Scott Perry once told you that the Knicks, it's about winning one title to snap a drought, not a dynasty. So you trade draft capital and Julius Randle for Kevin Durant. Knicks have 2 first rounders, obviously, this year, 24 and 25. Next month, KD can lift them to a title if Thibs doesn't run him to the ground. And then you follow that up by saying your timeline suggests KD does not do that. But he says KD played 75 games. OG never played 75 games. He averaged 27.1 points, 52.3% shooting. You gave a lot of stats here. You said he lost the potential titleist in mini, has 2 rings, and has 2 final MVPs. So safe to say, if Kevin Durant was available, I think you'd want the Knicks to go after him. Could you explain a little bit about that regarding Randle and KD and why'd you want to make that move?
Yeah, I was very surprised how anti-Durant Knicks fans are, and it's more personal than basketball.
Right.
I mean, most of my mentions or responses were, I don't want to win a title with Kevin Durant. I was like, wow. Listen, he did chicken out in New York back then. I really believe that. He didn't want the enormous pressure of being the Knicks savior. But I think right now, as you know, his handler is Rich Kleiman, who desperately wants him to be a New York Knick. Mm-hmm. He didn't want him to be a Brooklyn Net. And I'm sure now more than ever, because the Sun situation just seems a little clunky. The chemistry was not there. I don't think they really love playing with each other, those guys. Bradley Beal, to me, is the most overpaid player in the NBA.
Agreed.
And for Kevin to be the missing final piece to a championship, I mean, what a wonderful end for his legacy. But Knicks fans don't want Kevin Durant to be part of the Knicks because he once spurned them. It's like the girlfriend that once spurned you and then she comes back to you. It's like, no thanks. But I mean, it's going to be 52 years. I mean, like, are we going to be that choosy on which superstar? He's not in his prime, but he's still solid enough to be a piece that lifts you with most of the same cast to lift you past, definitely Indiana, obviously, and maybe Boston. And Horford's going to be a year older next year. I just think that that's a move that moves the needle. And, other guys, listen, they have 2 first-round picks, 24 and 25. And I'm hearing that, they want to take them just to get depth pieces. That's not moving the needle to the NBA Finals. I'm looking at a championship. Scott Perry thought his job was to win one championship, break that drought. And Kevin Durant can do that. And you have to put, bygones be bygones. Listen, the Brooklyn Nets to team up with, it was Kyrie, honestly, that was the facilitator of let's go to the Nets. And Kevin followed along. It was a terrible mistake. Harden, it might not have been as tragic a mistake if they didn't add Harden after. But I just think you got to forgive Kevin. He was following his friend Kyrie. It was obviously the wrong move. He should have came to the Knicks. But I think if they could get him with Julius and adding some of their picks that they have that they really don't want, they just want to trade. They have these picks not to use. They have these picks to trade. Yeah. And if Kevin's available, I think you got to go right after it. Devin Booker's probably, a better long-term fit.
Yes.
As he's much younger. But I think Kevin can make even a bigger impact in one season.
See, for me, it's not even about KD anymore. It's more about the Suns and their ownership. It sounds like they're doubling down on the fact they want to keep all of the core 3 for them. And I guess I understand it because they don't really have moves. But if you look at the moves they have with them, they're even more limited. You can't really build around them. Like you said, Beal, in terms of his value, like I said, availability, to your point, he doesn't play that often. When he does play, he doesn't push the needle or push it as far as he should. And I feel like that's the main issue that we have. He doesn't take it as far as he can do it with that team. They're just not built the right way for KD. KD needs other pieces around him, and I think, and other pieces on the bench that can allow him to thrive. He doesn't thrive with that, and I think sometimes he juggles between 1, 2, and 3 with all 3 of them, and he can't do that. He needs to have a defined role, and I think with the Suns, he just doesn't. If he comes to the Knicks, the only concern is how long does he hold up for? Because we don't know how many games he's going to go through Tom Thibodeau's system, if he's going to have any issue running through games, if he's going to need to miss games. Those are always the concerns. And then he's aging. And if he doesn't like what's going on and then he requests another trade, you just gave up assets for somebody that potentially doesn't want to stay. So I think all of those are potential factors there, right, Mark?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think you get 2 very, very good years out of Kevin. But I'm thinking, what's the alternative? The Philadelphia 76ers aren't handing over Joel Embiid to the Knicks, their division rival. These superstars are tough to find and tough to get in a trade. So if the Suns decide, or if Kevin tells Phoenix, listen, I really don't want to be here, I don't see a vision, I mean, then the Knicks have to explore it. And they have all these draft picks that they don't want to use. Thibodeau doesn't like playing rookies anyway. And I imagine on draft night, they package the 2. If they can't put it in a blockbuster, they package the 2 to move up. I think they just need one guy.
Right.
But I just think if Kevin's available, you got to go after it in a big way. And listen, Karl Anthony Towns is now in a good situation with Minnesota. Oh, and getting back to the Suns, they did lose to an excellent ball club in Minnesota that went to the conference final. So, yeah, I just think that you got to go after Kevin if he's available. It would be malpractice for Leon Rose not to.
I think he's going to pick up the phone to talk to basically everybody's available, but I get the Kevin Durant situation. I understand it. That's not as realistic, but I said it before in a different video at the different stream. The Knicks right now, they used to be the team that had to go out to get every star. But given the fact what they're building, when healthy, I think they're being more selective with the star that they want to add. They want to add the right piece, the right fit, to your point, somebody who is durable, that can last a lot. But my last question was the draft situation, but you kind of answered it by saying that they're likely going to use their picks to either trade up or, classic Knick fashion, use one and then trade another one to move back, get more assets for the future, and then continue doing that. It's either going to be one or the other.
That's the Brock Aller method. Keep adding more draft picks that you never could trade.
Until you're locked out on a superstar. But then it goes back to the point where you're primed now to get that superstar. If you enjoyed these clips from the live show, be sure to subscribe to the channel and have notifications turned on so you don't miss any new episodes or when we go live. Thanks for watching, Knick fans, and until next time, peace.